Today we are going to talk about backflips. Not that we have it totally figured out, but we have tips that can help you guys in the process. So let's do it. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I'm here with the legend Kellen Hall, and Kellen has been fully focusing on the backflip this summer in Hood River, and so I think there's a lot that we can learn from that, even though it's still a process that's like ongoing.
Work in progress for sure.
Work in progress, but so first, if anybody out there is interested in the idea of maybe sending a backflip, what would you say? Okay, make sure that this is kind of the level you have before you even get into it. What would be that level?
I would say that you want to be at a good level, mainly jumping all right, landing your jumps and hitting your kickers too, maybe jumping off some waves, landing all right off that, and then you're pretty much good to go after that,
Yeah. It seems like the backflip, there is, so of course, you want to be having your very comfortable on the jumps.
Yep.
But there is a fear factor that's the kind of the barrier to,
oh, yes.
The first barrier to even sending a backflip, even if it's not a success, but just sending it, you kind of have to get over that fear. So for you, how was that first one? Do you remember? Or?
Oh yeah. So for me, coming from a kiteboarding background, I've been doing flips for years, so that kind of helped me think in my head that I'm doing all right. Then I would get to the beach and see that it's really windy, the conditions are looking good, and you get that anxious feeling inside. You're like, all right, it's real now. So just watching the videos, is one thing, but then when you get in the reality of it and you're there, you're like, all right, let's go for it. So once you get about one or two of them, and even the wipeouts, and you know that you're getting your wing around in front of you when you're landing or wiping out, then it becomes a lot easier and less anxious feeling, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure, I can relate. I remember, you watch videos, you have that excitement, you have kind of you build some confidence. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna do it. You get to the beach, and then you are okay, actually this day is pretty good for backflips, and you're starting to freak out.
Oh yeah.
And then you go in the water, and you're you see the ramp coming, and you're there is that hesitation that's gonna be building up to the moment where
big time.
You send it, and then you send it, you fall, and then it kind of makes you realize all right, it's okay,
Yep.
I'm not gonna die. I did destroy quite some wings in the early stages of learning the backflip, but now I kind of feel like I'm over that. I haven't been breaking any wing in a while.
And I would say that's the best feeling for you guys. Once you get one or two sessions out of the way and you get your wipeouts and the wing's out in front of you, that anxious feeling starts to go away, and you get more of a motivation feeling of, okay, let's slow things down a little bit, because everything's moving so fast in this moment. That I had maybe 2 or 3 sessions of when I was in the air of blacking out, trying to spot my landing, and I couldn't even spot the landing. Everything was moving so fast. I would black out, I would wipe out. Before I know it, I would be laid out, kind of like a football play or a soccer play. When everyone tackles you, you feel like your board's one way and your wing, and you landed on the wing, and you're looking at the wing, making sure you didn't rip it, So once that goes away and you get a couple sessions in, I would say the main thing is to try to keep it up. If you're in a place where you're training or you're living and going out, in the afternoons or whatnot, just keep it up. And that's what helped me the most, is staying consistent on it. If you wait a week or two, you might get that anxious feeling again, kind of thing.
Yeah. So now getting into the technique. So
Yep.
You've been doing so much research. You've been reaching out to riders that have the backflip dialed in.
Yep.
And so you've been gathering all of the tips from different riders. So now, how would you break down the technique?
So, like Gwen is saying, the kicker is very key. You know, a ramp is going to help you get the height that you're looking for to make things a little slower and to not have to force the rotation so much. So a ramp is really good. More higher winds, I would say, 15 plus, 20 plus is really good. I've been on a 3-meter wing, or a 3.5 is the biggest I've been training on for backflips. And here in the gorge, very windy conditions. So yesterday on a 2.5, usually on a 3-meter training. Back in Florida, I think it's going to be different. We're going to be on 4 meters most of the time. So whatever wing you end up on, it's not bad. Just make sure you have a ramp to get some height, and that wing will get out in front of you on your rotation. And then another thing is gear is very crucial. You want the right gear. So I started on a 60-liter board. I'm about 150 pounds, and the 60-liter code, that's the 4.8, is a great board. Anything around a 60-liter for you guys is awesome to start. And then I found that I moved to the sink starter. The link is 51 liters, the 4.7. That's an awesome board when it gets windier and it's not patchy, or you know, the wind's up and down kind of thing. That's what you're looking for. Is the sinker board is going to help your rotation, help the landing, and keep that board out in front of you. So
yeah, what would you say, like, so like the first like kind of like issue, I mean, once you get the confidence to send it, you know, the rotation is not too hard to get. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you, I think it was like Chris that was saying, like, you know, you just lean back and it happens, and that's kind of true. Like, you just lean back and the rotation will happen. Yep. Especially if you have the right kicker. But now, like, there is, you know, some sort of a technique with the wing. Do you have some tips on like how to get that wing?
It's very important as soon as you're taking off. Another thing is to get good pop, I found, is to be low on the mast. So that's first step that I was going with, is as you're hitting the ramp, don't be high up on your mast, be low in the water column, and that helps you get more pop. So you're almost touching down on your board, kind of thinking in your head, the mindset is to get low as you can to where you're almost touching down on the board as you're taking off on the wave. That'll help you give you the best pop you can have. And then as you're going either left foot forward or right, you're gonna be bringing the wing now like this and over the head. If you keep the wing like this, you'll end up kind of stretched out upside down in your rotation. So it's very important to get like this. If you're going right foot forward, you get like this. The key is to get the arms over, and then the head needs to touch and get the neck back. That's the most important part, really, on the rotation to start.
And that's kind of also like part of it, like, which is what I'm not doing, and I think that's why I'm like losing awareness of where I am, is because I'm all, you know, like, you know, I'm sending it in my, all like my muscles are like tense, and I'm like a stick, and I do the rotation, but I'm like not moving. And so I think what helps with the head, not only is going to help with the rotation, but it's going to help with, like, you know, seeing the landing, you know, looking back, seeing the water, and you know, being aware of like where you are in comparison to the surface of the water.
That's going to be the hardest part for you guys, is full commitment, and I mean it, full commitment on just sending it and making sure when you go off the ramp that you're looking for, that you get your neck, and your neck is going to touch your back, and you're just trying to look at your landing now and keep the board out in front of you. That's something I had an issue with maybe 2 or 3 sessions, was I was starting to get my rotation, but then every time I was coming down on my landing, my board was nosediving, or I was a little late on the rotation, not coming all the way around. So it's very important, once you do start getting your rotation, that you're going to want to bend your front leg and bring that board up over your head and get that board out in front of you as you land, and making it a slow rotation as well. So as you're getting to the peak of your jump, you want to already be in your full rotation. So as you're coming down, you're spotting your landing and you're not still rotating. And that'll happen a couple times. It happened to me a bunch of times, over rotating, under rotating. You know, it's a trial and error. It's a work in progress still for me, still getting it down, you know, the landings. I would say 50% of it I'm starting to land now, so that's a good feeling. And getting out of the anxious, you know, mindset or feeling is great. So that's very nice.
And what's important to know is like, you know, even, you know, guys like Kellen, you know, like world-class kiteboarder, is still a struggle. So like, you know, it's gonna be a struggle for anybody.
Yep.
And that's, you won't get away with it. I mean, there might be like, you know, a few people in the world that were like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try it, and then they got it, you know. But I think for the rest of us, it's gonna be a struggle. So like you said, you have to be relentless with it. And you know, while I was here, and I know, you know, he inspired you a lot as well, Austin Kalama, you know, just
Big
seeing
time.
him like going out over and over and trying every tag, you know, like some crazy moves relentlessly, and falling, you know, so many times, getting back up and trying again. I think that's the key, is just to do it so many times. And we don't really see that, you know, when we see the social media. On social media, you're gonna see like all of, you know, these guys. Austin, you're gonna see the cool stuff and he's landing them, but what you don't see is the work behind it that he's put in,
Big time,
to be able to like land it. So that's the part that you don't see, and it's real, you know. Putting in the work is something you can't get away with not doing. So.
And my background is kiteboarding, so I've been kiteboarding for 15, 20 years, doing flips, and then going to the wing and trying to do flips is totally different, and it's made me try to get away from bad habits that I've had. So basically kiteboarding has had bad habits in me to start off with, and I had to break those bad habits, and you know, now I'm feeling pretty good about it, but it took a while.
Cool. All right, well, thank you for sharing all of that with us, Kellen. Super awesome to be here with you.
Pleasure.
And I'm definitely like always inspired. If you are in the water sending it, I feel like, okay, you know, it kind of gives me the confidence to like send it as well. And it's, yeah, find somebody, also find a friend to go through that process with. It's just gonna make it like so much easier, so much more fun than if you're just like on your own. And also wear a helmet. You know, if, you know, maybe impact vest, and
Very
don't
smart.
go out there like alone if you are the only one in the water and send them like crazy. Things can happen, and if something do happen, you want people around to be able to like help you. So.
Oh yeah, good call.
So on that note, you know, thank you so much for watching, and I know it's not something that everybody's gonna want to go do backflips, but at least you understand some of the process, and if you are looking into it, at least we share a bit of information with you so you can make it safer, and you can go out there with some knowledge and send it in the right condition. So thank you so much, Kellen.
Yep.
See you guys
Have
next
a great
time.
day.